rich with accounts and stories that relates and reminds us of young persons that in the face of adversity, they did some important things. They had a resolve, an unwavering resolve in who God was and the ability of them through. We can think of young Joseph, from the palace to the prison, and then back to a position of authority. We can think of young David, little shepherd boy, raising up to a position of prominence and king over Israel, anointed by God even before King Saul was removed. Hallelujah. And you know, we thank God. And even those three Hebrew boys, my accounts, my historical accounts of each one of them suggest that they were young people, just as you are today, as we encourage you to go past, to look past adversity. Do that with a resolve in a holy God. Do that understanding the whole concept of resilience, going above, going beyond, not taking what is happening in your circumstances, but trusting God. Amen. That's one of the things that define all of those young people that I spoke to you about. Joseph, I spoke to you about David, young David, and the three Hebrew boys in the midst of adversity, in the midst of being thrown into the fiery furnace, was able to declare that we will not defile ourselves nor bow down to any other God. So young people, as we pray today, parents and all our dignitaries that are here, we are here because you know, we are entrusted with these young people, and no greater person to look to but to the Lord on their behalf, as we help them, as we guide them, as we lay the foundation that they will be able to overcome adversity and empower them to lead. Father and God, this evening we give you thanks, we give you praise, we give you honor, we give you glory. We stand in all of your greatness, in all of your majesty. It was you, the scripture says, that Joseph found favor with you, God, his heart in the midst of adversity, being presented with an occasion, oh God, to go contrary to your teachings. Oh God, he chose to suffer in prison for 2+ years, oh God, until he was restored. God, I give you thanks today for the Sangre Grande Development Foundation and for this initiative that we can bring our youth, our young people into this space. Oh God, we invite you into this space this evening. We invite your presence. That was a common denominator amongst these three young examples in your word. Oh God, that they understood the importance of your presence. They understood how important it was to have an unwavering relationship with you. So God, when tough times came, God, they were resilient because of their trust and their commitment to your word and what you have said. So Father, I pray in the midst of all that they would hear today, that they will take example from young Joseph, being faced with such a decision, but being able to maintain his integrity. They would be reminded like young David, and they, in the midst, when they see things going wrong, they would cry out like David, is there not a cause? Oh God, and we thank you for the example of the three Hebrew boys. When faced with a decision, they can go with the crowd, they can do what everybody doing. They chose to serve and to honor you as a holy God. God, I give you praise. I thank you for all the speakers that will come and present today, God, but I pray in the midst of it, you will take first place. You will get the glory in the lives of these young people, that as we build this great Twin Island state of Trinidad and Tobago, God, we ask your presence to be here with us. Let everything that is said and done, your help now, touch the heart of each and every young person that has been gathered here today, those who may be on the live stream. cause the words of the presenters to help to fall, oh God, in their minds, that their mindsets will change. One of being solution oriented, oh God, being resilient in the face of adversity. I pray your blessings upon them now in their going out. In the name of Jesus, with thanksgiving, I pray. And everybody join together and say, Amen. Hallelujah. Come on, give God some glory in this place.
Thank you, Reverend Sampson. Everyone, please be seated. Mr. Eric Taylor, the president and founder of the SGDF, retired Justice of Appeal, the Honorable Malcolm Holdip, CEO, Corporate Secretary and Board of Directors, Administrative Executive, Youth Arm Executive, and members of the Youth Arm, Mr. Jameson Reeves, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, Mr. Robert Hernandez, Managing Director, Highlanders Steel Orchestra, WPC Sharon Ryan, Community-Oriented Policing, Eastern Division, Reverend Earl Sampson and Mrs. Sampson, specially invited guests, participants. Good afternoon. It is my distinct honor to introduce this afternoon's Mistress of Ceremonies, Ms. Kimel Kerr. Ms. Kerr is the Chief Executive Officer of our esteemed foundation and Chair of its Youth Development Committee. She is an attorney at law who has devoted over a decade to civil society, driven by her unwavering commitment to youth empowerment. Known for her visionary leadership, Ms. Kerr is dedicated to mentoring and inspiring youth to achieve excellence and reach their fullest potential. Her dedication serves as a beacon of hope, fostering transformation and growth within her community. Her greatest satisfaction is witnessing the holistic development and success of young individuals. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Kimel Kerr to lead us through this afternoon's proceedings.
Thank you, Ms. McLean. Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed my pleasure to take you through this afternoon's conference. At this time, I would like to invite one of our hardworking directors, Director Rosalind Pivot, who is also responsible for youth development, to bring welcome remarks. Ms. Pivot.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. On behalf of our president, Mr. Eric Taylor, the board of directors, the administrative and youth arm executive of the Sangre Grande Development Foundation, it is my distinct honor to warmly welcome each and every one of you to our second annual youth conference. We are truly delighted to have you here with us as we continue our mission to inspire and empower our young people to realize their fullest potential and rise above every challenge. At SGDF, we firmly believe that any investment in our youth is a major crucible in our nation's future. Once again, welcome and do enjoy the remainder of this afternoon's conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Pivot. At this time, I invite one of our very talented young ladies in our community, saxophonist, Miss Elizabeth Campbell. Ladies and gentlemen, Elizabeth Campbell. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sangre Grande Development Foundation stands as a beacon of purpose and progress, guided by a vision that has inspired excellence in service, innovation, and community empowerment. Our mission has always been clear: to build an organization of service excellence through collaboration, strategic networking, and the empowerment of our grassroots people. For over 15 years, we have worked tirelessly to create opportunities for social, economic, and community advancement, driven by our mission that through the efforts of a few, the lives of many can be transformed. In pursuit of this mission, we have joined hands with key stakeholders across every sphere: religious, corporate, governmental, cultural, and community, locally, regionally, and internationally. This year, we were deeply honored to receive the Community Service Award for the District of St. Andrew St. David from the Ministry of Community Development, a proud reflection of our shared dedication and the collective impact of all who believe in our cause. This is our award, and it belongs to all of us. We remain deeply grateful to our partners and supporters, many of whom are here with us today, for walking this journey alongside us. Ladies and gentlemen, now in that spirit of youth, leadership, and the power of community, I warmly invite the following persons to bring brief remarks. At this time, I invite number 6779 WPC, Sharon Ryan, from the Community-Oriented Policing Section of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. Before I go further, on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, the Superintendent, Eastern Division, Superintendent, Community-Oriented Policing Section, and my immediate supervisor, Sergeant Alfred, I want to express our sincere thanks for being a part of this initiative today. As I go further, where do I start? As a police officer, serving this community has been a challenge. I have been a police officer for the past 17 years. Most of my career was spent at the Northeastern Division. However, I newly moved up to this division, so I am working in this division for the past 2.5 years. It has been a challenge. I want to speak to the parents. Parents, you have a responsibility to do what is right, to set proper examples for your children. We have come to a point in our country where we have to leave the general public, policing the general public, and have to police the schools. What does that say? As parents, I'm a parent myself and a grandparent. I think we have dropped the ball, in my respectful view. We have come to a point in this country where children have no respect for adults, no respect for authority, and sometimes not even respect for themselves. So, I want to say thank you to the Sangre Grande Development Foundation, the President, Mr. Eric Taylor, and his staff for this wonderful initiative. Children, make use of this. We have come to a point where this country is very, very hard. To get a job in this country, you have to have over 5 CXC passes. And if you don't attain 5 CXA passes, consider yourself at the end of the line, to the back of the line. Parents, you have a responsibility to set proper examples for your children. As a police officer, sometimes we are on our beat in Sangre Grande. Children will bounce into us and not even say, sorry, excuse me. Gone are the days I'm over 50. Gone are the days I have to walk the streets and tell everybody, good afternoon, good morning, excuse me, how are you? And if I don't say good morning when I reach home, the rest is history. I'm sure most of your parents could attest to that. So we have children in this country right now who have no respect for elders, for authority. So I am asking parents, please, do what you need to do. Set proper examples for your children. Teach them moral and also spiritual values. Without God, nothing is possible. And I want to commend the person that is playing the music today. I sat there and I listened to the music. And I encourage parents, please allow your children to listen to things that will put good influence in them. The music that they're listening to, as my mother used to say, garbage in, garbage out. The cell phones. Please monitor your children on the cell phones. They are putting things out there when they get older and they're looking for a job. And as a study children, I don't know if some of the children here know me, when they press the delete button, things don't delete. It stays right there. Respect yourselves. Whatever you put out there, you're living in a very judgmental society. Whatever you put out there, people are going to label you by what you put out there. So I don't want to take up much of your time. I just want to encourage parents to support their children. You know, not everybody cannot be lawyers and doctors and police officers and so forth and so on. If there is something that they like, encourage them. Give them the support. Community involvement is also an important part of, you know, upbringing. When I was growing up, we had to go and help the neighbor and help the aunties and uncles in the community clean the yard and do a little chores and stuff. A little Sunday school. Anyone of the youth here just go Sunday school? Raise your hand. Well, I see him too. All right, so prayer, going to church is important. All right, so I don't want to pick up much of your time, but I want to say, parents, please encourage your children, set good moral and physical and spiritual values in your children so that they can be productive citizens of this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, WPC Sharon Ryan. Now I invite Mr. Robert Hernandez, Managing Director of Highlanders Steel Orchestra, to bring brief remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. Again, my name is Robert Hernandez, and I'm from the village of Success Village in Laventille. I am delighted to be here today. I would like to recognize Mr. Eric Taylor, fondly known as the Pink Panther, for putting on this event today. I think this is so important, so critical, so vital for us to have these gatherings in the various communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago. As was mentioned, our youths are our future. And we, the senior elders, have to take responsibility for guiding and shaping our youths. We have a serious situation taking place in this country right now with regard to our youths, and it's common to hear that there may have been a lost generation out there. What we are doing here is an attempt to right a wrong that is happening. I am here today to speak a little bit about my community and what we do in Laventille within the steel pan movement. I am from the Highlander Steel Orchestra, and as I arrived here today, I was pleasantly surprised to see in the parking lot a steel orchestra set up on pan racks. It made me feel very comfortable that I'm in the right place. I would like to speak a little bit about my band, the Highlander Steel Orchestra, which is one of our legacy bands in this country, and the founders and leaders that were responsible for bringing that band to its prominence. A brief history of the Highlander Steel Orchestra. Highlanders was established in 1953 by Kim Loy Wong in Mango Rose, and later on led by Mr. Bertie Marshall, ORTT, that designation being given to him for his contribution towards the development of the steel pan in this country. Now, we all know that the only thing that we can claim in Trinidad and Tobago is the steel pan. It is our invention. It is regarded as something that came out of our struggles. So we take pride in promoting the steel pan as our own. The Highlander Steel Orchestra recorded its first commercial album in 1965. Keeping in mind, it started in 1953. In 1965, the band recorded its first commercial album, and the tune that plummeted the band to prominence was a classical tune that some of you may know called "Every Valley Shall Be Exalted." It is a classical piece that was done by one of the European composers by the name of Handel. That tune brought the band into prominence. Following that victory with "Let Every Valley Be Exalted," the band was invited to perform at the Trinity Cathedral in Port of Spain. That was in 1966, and that collaboration with the choir, the Trinity Cathedral Choir, led to the band's second album, which again was done in 1966. In the early 70s, the band's captain, Bertie Marshall, lost his home. There was a fire that destroyed his home in Laventille, and he was invited by Mr. Rudolph Charles from Desperados to go to Desperados and assist Desperados. And Bertie Marshall would have left Highlanders in the early 70s. During the period, the band struggled for leadership. The band would have moved to various locations within the Laventille community by different leaders who would have worked to keep the band alive. At the turn of the century, in the 2000s, a new committee was established to reorganize the band. And the band was subsequently registered as a non-profit company. And the aim was to create a viable cultural organization within the community. Bertie Marshall would have died in 2012, and that event resulted in the community getting together and galvanizing support to re-establish the band as a formidable cultural organization. Following that, the committee that was then organizing the Highlander Steel Orchestra petitioned the government to rename the old St. Joseph Road in Success Village Bertie Marshall Boulevard in honor of Bertie Marshall. And today we are very proud to say that the old St. Joseph Road in Success Village, Laventille has been renamed officially to the Bertie Marshall Boulevard in honor and recognition of his contribution to our culture and the development of the steel pan in Trinidad and Tobago. Highlanders would have re-emerged as a panorama competitor in the small pan category in 2015, and in 2017, Highlanders would have qualified in both the semi-final and finals. The band would have struggled to establish itself as a community organization. And as part of the initiative to rebuild Highlanders within the Laventille community, the band would have relocated to an abandoned gas station at the corner of William Street and the Eastern Main Road in Laventille. We would have gone to NP, which was the owner of that property, and negotiated with NP and successfully gotten a 99-year lease on that property. We then went to the East Port of Spain Development Company and negotiated with them, and they would have constructed a modern pan theater and after-school center for us right in that location. And if you are familiar with the Eastern Main Road in Laventille, you would see a brand new building that was built here on what was previously a gas station. So the community would have taken some control of government property, and we would have put it to use for community development. Highlander Steel Orchestra Pan Theatre and Learning Center was completed and officially handed over to us on December the 1st, 2023. Although our core business is entertainment, we place equal emphasis on educating our youths, serving as mentors, and creating opportunities for personal development as a responsible cultural institution in our community. We have partnered with schools in our community, offering assistance in teaching music and lending out our steel pan instruments to worthy recipients to assist in establishing school orchestras in the various schools in Laventille. Highlanders celebrated World Steel Pan Day 2024 with the inaugural Bertie Marshall National Steel Pan Quiz and Spelling Bee competition. And again, this is aimed at educating our nation's youth on the history of the steel pan and steel pan movement. This year in 2025, we continue this tradition and also initiated a recognition program honoring two cultural icons, Mr. Michael Cooper, President of Panland Trinidad and Tobago, and your very own Mr. Eric Taylor for his Golden Jubilee 50 years contribution to the Calypso Art Form. Could we give Mr. Taylor a round of applause? We would have recognized the work he has done, and we would have recognized him for that. Our newly constructed Pan Theatre is equipped with 3 classrooms that accommodate a homework center, after-school music education, and literacy training center, as well as we were successful in getting Digicel to sponsor a technology in education center in our Panyard. During the past years, the band has been actively involved in sponsoring youths from our community who are band members in pursuing music literacy training. The band also sponsored one of its youths who attended the University of the West and had several grades in music literacy. Currently, Highlanders is preparing to travel to Venezuela in early December, notwithstanding what's going on, to perform at an international film festival. Highlanders Steel Orchestra and Bertie Marshall are also being recognized and honored by the United Nations agency UNESCO as part of Port of Spain Music Walk of Fame. In 2019, UNESCO designated Port of Spain a creative city of music. And this recognition will celebrate the musical icons and pioneers of the city, and will involve the installation of a commemorative plaque in our Panyard. In conclusion, the steel pan community is a global one. We all know that. There are steel bands in North and South America, Canada, the UK, Europe, Asia, Africa, and throughout the Caribbean. These regions are host to many music festivals and competitions. The Highlanders Steel Orchestra, propelled by its legendary and iconic leaders over the years, and its role and presence as a source of progressive development, is critical to the maintenance of social stability within the Laventille community. The Highlanders Steel Orchestra has positioned itself to be recognized as a cultural oasis within our community and will be associated with top quality entertainment, educational and social advancement, professionalism and strong leadership, continued advancement of the steel pan industry and its nationalistic spirit. The band's core values, honesty, discipline, loyalty, and respect for others encapsulates the culture of our organization. We are very pleased to be part of this program today, knowing that what you are doing here in Sangre Grande is exactly what we are doing in Laventille, and we hope to invite you to come to Laventille and spend some time with us as we continue to pay attention to our youth, foster community development, and build strong communities within Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for the time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hernandez. Before I proceed, I'd like to acknowledge our very hardworking directors of the Sangre Grande Development Foundation. I know they are busy assisting, but those who are in the auditorium, if you could just stand. I'd also like to acknowledge our CorpSec, our Youth Arm Executive. Those of you who are here, stand quickly, please, the Youth Arm Executive. Okay, thank you very much. Also, I would like to acknowledge Captain Neville Wint, former head of the ODPM, Mr. Wint. Alderman Paul Mongelos. And the retired Superintendent of Police, Mr. Ryan Khan. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. At this time, I invite our Deputy Team Lead and our Logistics Officer, Mr. Terrace and Ms. Jemiah James, to perform for us.
Huh?
All right. Our very talented youths of the youth arm, Ms. Jemiah James and Terrace. Well done. Today we honor our outstanding CSEC and CAPE achievers whose resilience, discipline, and commitment continue to shape a brighter future. Today we'll be presenting awards for some of our students who completed the CSEC examinations and the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency examinations. And to assist with the distribution of these awards, I call on Director Glendora Kennedy to present the first award, and our first achievement award goes to Zeda Sherwood. Zeda, okay. Our next achievement award for successfully completing CSEC examinations, Ms. Selena Johnson, and I call on Director Rosalind Pivot. I now call on Director Jane Forrester John. Unfortunately, Takira Kerr isn't well, so she couldn't join us this afternoon, but I asked her grandmother to receive her award on her behalf, please. Moving on to our CAPE awardees, I now invite Mrs. Nakia Joseph, our Corporate Secretary, to present an achievement award to Ciara Khan. I now invite Director Carol Osuna Jordan to present to Ms. Aliyah McLean. Congratulations to all. At this time, I invite our president and founder, Mr. Eric Taylor, to step forward as we get ready to present the President's Youth Award for 2025. At this time, we honor a young leader whose passion, purpose, and unwavering commitment embody the very essence of youth empowerment and national pride. Laquan is a dynamic young leader whose vision, drive, and innovation have left an indelible mark on his community, the tourism and agriculture sectors of Trinidad and Tobago. At just 16 years old, he made history as the nation's first junior minister of tourism, proudly representing our country at the prestigious Caribbean Tourism Organization Youth Congress in Barbados. Throughout his academic journey, Laquan distinguished himself through exceptional leadership and service. Among his many accolades are the Lucille Antwine Leadership Scholarship from the Caribbean Medical Providers Association and recognition as one of the most outstanding RBC young leaders. He also received a national award in 2019 and later emerged as a two-time National Youth Award recipient, earning the 2024 honor for youth in agriculture. His entrepreneurial spirit shines through his venture, Kwan's Farm, where he champions sustainability and innovation through the Youth Agriculture Homestead Program. Laquan's work continues to inspire young people to embrace leadership and service. Today, Laquan stands as a shining example of youth excellence and national pride, having recently graduated from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Academy. Laquan now serves as a full-fledged police officer, driven by even greater passion to uplift, protect, and serve his community with integrity. His journey reminds us that true leadership is born from purpose, perseverance, and a deep commitment to country and community. In recognition for sustained, extraordinary leadership and unwavering commitment to growth and progress among the youth of this region and beyond, I now have the honor of inviting Mr. Laquan Perry, our president, to receive the President's Youth Development Award for 2025.
Every year, we give awards to our young people as best as we know. If we don't know, we can't give, you know. This year, it wasn't hard to come to a conclusion with respect to who will get it this year. This young man in front of you here, you heard all the accolades that the mistress of ceremony would have said. But this year, he touched my heart in another way. He went into where we just call it the police barracks, but now they call it academy, same thing, right? And I don't know, but this was one of the longest set of recruits that they keep in the barracks. You see? And don't mind how long they kept them there, Laquan remained focused. In fact, he was so focused that when he graduated from the academy,
he was placed in a special unit in the TTPS. And that calls for a roll the clap. I can't tell you what unit it is, but if you want to find out, do wrong things.
Congratulations again to Laquan Perry. It is now my pleasure to invite the founder and president of our foundation, Mr. Eric Taylor, accompanied by Mr. Jimmy Phillip, National Awardee Hummingbird Medal, to perform a special song for our youths.
Good evening again. Sangre, Grande. You know, we can't have a national icon in our midst and we do acknowledge him. We have to know this man, Jimmy Phillip, he was born in Chaguanas, Knockfield Street, yes? And in 1986, he invented this pan. He invented this pan in 1986. The same pan you see here, you know, how much years is that? 14 and 25, 39, almost 40 years. And this pan still singing real good. He called it the what? The porta pan. Some call it the no-skilled pan. You understand? But this man, Jimmy Phillip, is hummingbird silver recipient, and he has been doing everything for pan. He could make pan, he could tune pan, he could make pan, anything with pan is him here, right? So it's only fair before we sing and do anything to give this national icon our Sangre Grande rounds of applause. Okay. Pump it up, man. The youth of our nation need our utmost attention. They need our love, affection, and appreciation. It is so imperative that we show them how to live a life that's true as it is. So they will aspire and endeavor to do better. All they need, just a little bit of love and a little bit of tender care. Young people need to know that we really care. So in times of despair, they will always be aware. The elders are here and willing to share. So anytime a youth fall down, anytime they fail, show them they could make a turn around. Let hope prevail. Like a relay, we must do the best we can to pass a good battle on to the next generation. To compete globally, innovation is the key for a strong economy and a healthy GDP. These youths are very creative. Once they get the incentive, Lord, we could gain an advantage. But they will show no zeal unless they feel the love is real. Well, they need Boji, just a little bit of love and a little bit of tender care. Young people need to know that we really care. So in times of despair, they will always be aware. You can have no care. I'm willing to share. So anytime a youth fall down, anytime they fail, show them they could make a turn around. Let hope prevail. Like a relay, we must do the best we can to pass a good battle. Put your hands together one more time for Jimmy. Our education needs a total revolution. We can go on using the same curriculum. We need more emphasis on vocational subjects. Lord, it's too much of them. So that every youth could contribute, and that's the truth. What do you need? Just a little bit of love. Young people need to know we have to grow. So in times of despair, they will always be aware. I'm not here. I'm willing to share. So anytime a youth fall down, anytime they fail, show them they could make a turn around. Let hope prevail. Cause like a relay, you must do the best you can. So pass our good battle and to the next generation. Join me. Just a little bit of life and a little bit of tender. Just a little bit of life and a little bit of tender. Just a little bit of life and a little bit of tender. Just a little bit of life and a little bit of tender. Just a little bit of life and a little bit of tender. Just a little bit of life and a little bit of tender. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, two cultural icons. Can we give them another round of applause? Just a little bit of love and a little bit of tender care. The Honorable Mr. Justice of Appeal Holdip retired, gained his legal experience in over 4 Caribbean territories, namely Grenada, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, and his country of birth, Trinidad and Tobago. He began his legal career in 1981 as an attorney at law in private practice, attached to the law chambers of Theodore R. Guerra, SC. He has held the office of Director of Public Prosecutions in both St. Kitts and Nevis and Grenada in the Eastern Caribbean. He was a corporate attorney in Anguilla and was the General Counsel, legal advisor to the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla Group of Companies. After serving as a temporary judge, he was permanently appointed to the Supreme Court of Trinidad and Tobago, where he adjudicated in the family and criminal divisions. In March 2020, he was appointed to the Court of Appeal, where he served until his retirement on June 30th, 2025. Justice of Appeal Holdip retired, graduated from the University of the West Indies with his Bachelor of Laws in 1979 from the Hugh Wooden Law School in 1981. His past graduate achievements also include a postgraduate diploma in public administration, a master's in history, and partial fulfillment of the master's in criminology and criminal justice. He's a certified mediator with the Mediation Board of Trinidad and Tobago and is an associate member of the Governance Institute. He served as the chair of the steering committee of the Drug Treatment Court from 2014 to 2020 and oversaw the Bail Support Program, Bail Boys Review Court from 2013 to 2020 in both Port of Spain and San Fernando. He has been associate tutor in trial advocacy at the Hugh Wooden Law School since 2004 to present. His hobbies include steel pan, calypso, and carnival research. He has served as the chairperson of the Calypso Adjudication Committee from 2009 to 2014 under the auspices of the Trinidad Unified Calypsonians Organization, TUCO. He also enjoys cooking and baking. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a privilege to welcome our distinguished keynote speaker this afternoon. I invite you to stand as we welcome Justice Holdip to the podium.
In communities, must have babies and elderlies, the under 50s, no lie, no lie. And even mommy and my daddy learn from grandpa and from granny, no lie, no lie. They say wisdom comes from age, and youth was bursting energy. Just remember this philosophy, without the root you don't have a tree. Blessed are the elders. Blessed are the elders. I chose that song as my introductory theme because I was asked to come and speak to the youth. I specifically asked the principal of SGDF what was the audience range that I was to speak to. He says, youth, man, youth. So I was very happy to actually see that the concept of youth is not something that is a void. Youth cannot exist without us, the elders. Youth cannot exist without us, the elders. It's a collaborative effort. And also, it helped me to recognize my own position on the spectrum of life. Because when I consider that Pink Panther has been in the Calypso business 50 years, I worked out, but he older than me. So I don't know if he's an elder or if he's a youth like me. What I want to say is that in today's world, visibility is often mistaken for leadership, and social influence is sometimes mistaken for wisdom. Those of you who are addicted to the social media will understand that as clearly as ever. That social influence is sometimes believed to be leadership. And that is far from the truth, my dear brothers and sisters. We need to anchor our young people in something much deeper than the type of contacts and networking that they have on social media and social influence. Not because you have 15,000 followers on your TikTok account, that does not make you a leader. So, we recognize they need something deeper than mere generic terms and what I would refer to as fluff. You see, they don't need just titles. They need tools. That is what the young people need in order to assist them in empowering themselves. They need tools. We, the elders who would have come out from professional, from across social services, through our education, we know that youth development and policy, that they, the young ones, are the ones, that we are the ones who have to be responsible for shaping their foundation. There's a young man by the name of Marlon Bascom. He does a lot of this social integration dealing with youths. And I was keen to follow something that he had said, and I feel I should share it with you. He highlighted a common truth, namely that we often mistake visibility not by values. We hand people, young people, terms like team leader, youth ambassador, and hope that by giving them the titles, they become what the title suggests. That does not work. That does not work. He underscored the problem which comes from that. When we speak to them about leadership training, very often it is only on the surface that we are touching. You heard Pink Panther say in this song, what do the youths need? They need love and attention. But how do we go about manifesting that love and attention in their lives? That is where the key issue is. We leave out emotional resilience. We leave out so often integrity and ethical decision making. In other words, if you just leave anyone, any group of persons
without having a deep foundation, a proper foundation, then everybody is just going to be living on generic terms, you know. And life has to be deeper than that. Our youth are rewarded for their charisma over character. They are rewarded because they are popular. They're doing good with the girls if they are boys. They're doing good with their football team members. They're doing good with the little boys around the block. But is that leadership? Is that leadership? They're very charismatic. They can talk. They have the walk. We tend to spotlight those young persons who very often are shining. But we as parents know that we also must pay attention to those who serve very quietly and very humbly. We must pay attention to those who serve quietly and very humbly. And I'm quite sure in this and the Grande Development Foundation, you have many who serve, but they're not always in the limelight. But you know that they serve, and they serve very well. We teach leadership as performance, not as process. The moment real pressures come, many of the young persons crumble. They appear to be very strong-willed, strong-spirited. But when the first aspect of pressure comes, they just crumble. Mommy, oh God, Mommy, I can't take this no more. Mommy, I want to come home. I can't take the food up there, Mommy. But it was bad. It was tough. WPC, Res will indicate that. They're big and bad. They're tough. Bounce me down. But from the time they get in a situation where they're no longer in control of that small environment, boil down like Baji, as we say. Boil down as Baji. So what we have to be careful about is how we nurture that same strong will and strong spirit. How can we nurture it so that it takes on a different image altogether? You see, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, former president of the United States, he said, we cannot always build the future for the youth, but we can build the youth for the future, which is what the SGDF is trying to do in all its different manifestations, to the extent that they now have a youth arm. Considering, therefore, look, we getting along, in age, but we need to develop a cadre of young people who can continue to be beacons within the team, in their community, and the far-sightedness is that it must be beyond your community, beyond your country, regionally, maybe perhaps even globally. Why not? Why not? You see, empowering youth through leadership development is crucial for cultivating the next generation of innovators, community builders, and change makers. You notice I said community builders, not community leaders. You all know that that has a particular meaning when we say that. So we talk about community builders, not necessarily leaders. Whatever skills you have, wherever youth is involved, it attracts other youth. Take it from me. I have been involved in the arts and culture, especially through Carnival. And when you see we have the Youth Steel Band Day, Junior Panorama then, that does make my heart well up. The joy that you see amongst those young pan enthusiasts, it's overwhelming. When we look at our children playing mass on Carnival Saturday morning, isn't that the best part of mass now? That is the best part of mass now. Creativity, innovation, discipline, respect. Young people must recognize their value and claim their space. See them here today? They are recognizing that they have a value and they can claim that space. You see, at the end of it all, we Trinidad and Tobago people, we are a mighty people. Isn't that so, Ms. Kerr? That we are a mighty people, and you will allow us to hear why we are a mighty people? Take a listen. Take a listen. Active listening.
Such a rarity to born in TNT. You could see that as lucky or unlucky. But once you're living here, this is your family. Niceness of the land is in the sea and sand. Is the champion in every citizen. So don't let nothing roll our people down. Cause when we cry, whoa, it is big for a short time, and when we smile, whoa, it is stretched from mile to mile just to survive. It takes spirit deep inside, we always shine, yeah. And I could say exactly why, cause we create the rhythm in this calypso, and we who make the carnival and the world know. So if you feel it, you should let it show, cause we are mighty.
Is that true that we are a mighty people? Give ourselves a round of applause. We are the people who gave Pan to the world. We gave Brian Lara to the world. We are a mighty people. It's not the sand and the sea. It is the people. That is what makes us strong, beloved Trinidadians and Tobagonians. When we smile, it's like a mile long. Okay? Remember that. We are a mighty people. As effective youth leaders, if you want to be effective rather as a youth leader, you must possess a combination of qualities that enable you to guide others. That enable you to guide others. enable you to navigate the challenges and to drive positive change. You amongst us here who are thriving youth leaders, you have to have passion and commitment for what you want to do. Passion. You see, passion fuels dedication. It fuels perseverance. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a fireman. As they would say, I want to be a regiment man and woman. Perseverance. The young man who came up for the special award. Don't be surprised in 10 years' time, he has an LLB degree and he has graduated from the Hewooden Law School. I've seen it in him already. I've seen it. Special unit. You now come out at the barracks and they put you in a special unit. That means you have a star against your name. All right? You have a star against his name. And where he came out of? Sandy Grande Development Foundation. Give yourself a round of applause. You see, you have to believe in yourself. People who believe in themselves and their abilities are not only happier than people who doubt their abilities. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. Isn't it beautiful that we could look on the podium where I am and say, yeah, from out of the community, he believed that he could have done it, and it happened. The same thing is applicable for each and every one of you here today. Each and every one of you in your own special way. Let me put it that way, in your own special way. You see, in spite of whatever your age may be, if there's a steadfast belief in your own abilities, you will have a satisfaction level in the high 70s. You see, if you're a Christian, you would never doubt your abilities. You know why you wouldn't doubt your abilities? Because you know that you have God. A God who can do all things on your side. There's absolutely nothing that is impossible for him. And with his help and strength, you also will be able to move mountains. And moving mountains doesn't mean moving physical mountains. Those obstacles and challenges in your life. For many of us, for instance, it could be, I can't read too well. That's the challenge. That's your mountain. How are you going to get over that mountain? For many of you who might have started in the musical program, boy, I'm catching my nenen to understand this panting, or this wind instrument. Perseverance, passion, keeping at it. Look at that young lady that came up here this afternoon. She's a graduate from the days when the deceased came to introduce that program, you know. Anybody would believe she has been playing that instrument just about 4 years. She was an excellent performer. And she had her mother right there with her. Mommy have the carrying the yes, and have that speaker there, and she have a little phone and she checking the levels, and in other words, she gave the support, and that child developed into the type of musician she is today. One of the paradoxes of being a youth leader in today's world is that you live in a paradox. Things don't always seem the way they are. Young voices are increasingly present in decision-making processes. We recognize that. Young people getting a chance. However, their voices are not being heard. However, their voices are not being heard. That's the paradox. You give us a chance. We say we give the youth a chance. You give us a chance, but when we come now, you ain't taking us on. We are just there as tokens to say, well, if you look at our board of directors, we'll see we have 2 young people here who represent the youth. But when meeting going on, youth leader, anything to say? All right, let's move on, please. You hear the drift? Youth leader, anything to say? Well, all right, let's move on, please. Tokenism. They're just there so that you could say you're fulfilling the statutory requirements of equality, of chance. Very often their presence, as I say, is just symbolic. They are being excluded from real influence. To bridge the gap between symbolic inclusion and genuine impact, we the elders, we need to equip our young leaders with the tools that they need to succeed and foster collaboration across the generation. Okay? The theme, the topic, speaks to defying adversity, empowering young citizens to lead. Inclusion. Inclusion implies that we ensure that everyone, irrespective of their background, has equal opportunities to contribute, grow, and succeed. It is about recognizing, respecting, and valuing differences. Recognizing, respecting, and valuing differences among us. Inclusion pertains not only to cultural, racial, and gender equalities, because a lot of people feel that's what inclusion is about, you know. They have a black man beating Tassa. That is inclusion. That we just go by with neighbor and them for Diwali and eat roti. That is inclusion. That's not inclusion. That's symbolism. All right? That's symbolism. It has to be deeper than that. We have to be able to respect different ideas, different perspectives, and different experiences. We all don't have the same experience of what life is or has been about. You remember COVID? You remember COVID 3 years ago? Imagine, and this is why I'm talking about respecting people across the spectrum. Remember when we were told we can't go outside? That we had to stay inside because we don't want COVID to spread? Now, when you are setting a policy and you live in a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms, with a study, a back veranda, how you expect a man who lives in a 2-bedroom place with 3 or 4 children, a wife, 3 to 4 children, living in a 2-bedroom space and telling him, hey, listen up, partner, you who was living in that 3 of you all living in that 3-bedroom house. It's 6 of us living in here. And you telling us we cannot go outside. You see how not recognizing differences across the social spectrum could create problems? And I think I'm being very generous in my description so as not to offend anyone. I'm being generous. And that is what we're talking about when we want to talk about inclusion and not excluding people. There must be a proactive and conscious effort to promote diversity and inclusion within all the team efforts, within the senior SGDF team as well as the youth arm. There must be a conscious, proactive effort to promote that diversity. It must include creating policies and practices that encourage participation and encourage or give rise to equal opportunities. So the executive, I am throwing out something for you as well. That you, the members of the executive, you have to put policies in place so as to be able to attract the youth that we have. And when we get them, how do we build? I say to you, you are not here by chance. Youth, you are not here by chance. God put you in the place where you are because he has a specific purpose in mind for you. Nothing would be the same if you were not there. Every place where you have been and every person you have ever met would be different without you being there. You see, we are all connected to one another, and we are all influenced through the decisions and the existence of the people around us. Think about that for a moment. We are all influenced by the people around us, by the decisions that they take. Think about your home life. Think about how you are affected by the decisions that are made by your parents, the decisions that are made by your siblings. Therefore, always be the best person that you can be. Find out what things God has in mind for you and do them. Find out what are the best things that God has in mind for you and do them. Discover your talents and use them. Commit your life to the good things that God has planned for you. Commit yourself to the good things that God has planned for you. As we the elders, we being the voice of maturity, we being those who have survived it and are able to endure, we know what we're talking about. Isn't it fantastic that we reach an age we could actually say, oh, that is what Mama was talking about. I now understand, you know. I now understand. That is what Mama telling me since I was a little boy. And I do with my daughter's self thinking that, Mama, you know what she's talking about? And you reach an age when you're able to say, shucks, boy. That's what Mama was really talking about. We need character, don't we? We need character.
Yes, you'll be popular. Is may accident. Riches could pick up himself and me. We could locate a friend, cause we know where she went. But a bad character had to retreat. Character is built on foundation, on how we deal with people we meet. It takes measures of love and compassion. From these qualities there is no retreat. So if we still in the port or about to sail, know that in this life character will prevail.
Character will prevail in this life. Choose right, my young brothers and sisters. Choose right. You see, not one of us knows how long we have to live. Therefore, we need to enjoy our lives and make the most of it. We must not forget to have fun. I challenge you this evening to put aside more time in the future for the things that you enjoy. Put aside some time for the things that you enjoy. If you know the Lord and you love him, he will help you make the right choices. So go ahead and ask him to help you to make the right choices when you have important decisions to make. Choose to be happy every day. When I was growing up as a young fella in the 1970s, there was a motivational song which had come out and which to this day still remains a fantastic motivational song. And I would ask the disc jockey, the DJ, to play that entire song because that came out in 1971. And I am quite sure some of the elders, not all, would remember that song. And I remember having to take the words of that song. I was doing a case that was very fiery. Lawyers and them were very, feisty. And I used the words of that song. Made copies and handed it out to the attorneys And that is what cooled down. That's what cooled down. Because I was jumping up for everything, eh? My lord, how can I try that? My lord, no! Hey, court matter, cool it. There's a Duranta by Les Green. The whole thing. Who remember it? Excellent.
Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there'll be greater and lesser persons than yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career. However humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to the virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive Him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be careful, strive to be happy. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. You are a child.
Okay, thank you very much. And I can only hope that many of you, technologically far advanced than I am, will go on your tablet and will search the YouTube, and you will find that poem, which was immortalized in the words as sung by Les Green, man by the name of Max Ehrman, or Ehrman. He wrote that well over 150 years ago. Officer, when you see it getting to you, you pull out your desert. Yeah, because I heard you today, tonight, this evening, and you were leveling, you didn't hold it back because you are in the trenches. You are in the trenches, and you came and you told us, listen, down in the trenches, they're like when we were in the trenches 30 years ago, 40, 50 years ago, When you're in the trenches now, it's pressure. Real pressure. So when you feel that your day going a little certain way, you pull out your phone and pull up Duranta. Right? And you'll see it has a very calming effect. A very calming effect. Follow it. Just before we come down to the last aspect, I would think I need to use the opportunity to indicate that the young people, they are going to meet challenges, they are going to meet obstacles in the way. What are the major obstacles that they can meet? I will say it to you very quickly. Lack of experience. How many people here have suffered when you go to school, come out of school, come out of university, and you're looking to get a job, and the first thing they want to find out from you is how much experience you have? I just graduated from school. I am 18 years of age. I have 6 O-levels or 6 CSC passes and 2 A-levels. And you ask me how much experience I have? Isn't that a slap in the face? And that is where persistence and resilience come in. You have to keep at it. You remember the widow and the unjust judge? The parable of the widow and the unjust judge? The unjust judge who would not give the widow justice, and she kept on back at him. I need you to give me justice against my opponent. I need you. And by her persistence, the judge said, look, you see there's someone only harassing me. Look, let me go and deal with her case, please. Let me go and deal with her case. That is where you, the young people, that's where persistence and resilience comes in. Another obstacle that you can face, unfortunately, is self-doubt. You know, after you have been told no on so many occasions, you begin to believe it, that you don't have what it takes, and do not believe in yourself. I think that, let me just get over that hurdle one time. Believe in yourself. Do not let anyone take your dreams or your joy away. If someone says no to you, that is their opinion. It is not your opinion of yourself. That is what is important, your positive opinion of yourself. And don't let anybody take away your joy. There must be balance and time management. Time management simply means that you have to prioritize your tasks. And that becomes crucial in your leadership role. Our athletes, you see how they have to prioritize their life? I saw a young lady, maybe about 2 weeks ago, speaking on one of the sports channels. And she said, I continue to have classes, even when I have to go and do meets outside. I practice 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. I have classes in between. I have assignments to hang up. So you know what I have to do? If I have an assignment for next week, Friday, I have to find out what that assignment is and try and do it this weekend because I'm free this weekend. Because next weekend, I have a sports meet. Same thing, I have PAN. Okay, you have PAN, you have music. Okay? Mommy, I can't really do no work today. No. Muchas gracias, señorita. Mommy, I really tired, you know. I can't do my homework, you know. I had to go PAN. No. Yes, you could go to the PAN, but you have to do your homework too. You have to prioritize your tasks. All right? You don't get to be in the special unit by not prioritizing your tasks, you know. Not so? I know that. And a critical one. Young people again are talking to principal here. I'll come back about it for the adults just now. Managing criticism. Criticism cuts deep. You have to learn to accept constructive criticism. You have to bounce back from setbacks, and you have, in that way, you have to build up your resilience. Now, we know they have a lot of bullying going on in schools. And it is very easy for me to say, hey, you have to build up resilience, you have to step back, you have to bounce back. But bullying is a totally different concept of behavior than we could even imagine. It means that you're trying to totally emasculate a human being. And you don't do it alone, eh? You need 2 or 3 imps. 2 or 3 imps to work with you. All right? You see, I have to go back in the mass. And in the mass, the dragon can't just cross the river, the water by himself. You always have 2 or 3 imps behind him. Alive? Always, you have 2 or 3 imps. So he's a dragon, he bad. But it's the 2 or 3 imps in the back there. Understand it. We say that today's youth will ultimately be tomorrow's leaders. We therefore must ensure that these young leaders are equipped with the tools to shine in their societal duty. Leadership is a skill which should be taught to every age and demographic. Leadership mustn't be taught only in Fatima or CIC or QRC or Naparima or presentation. It must be taught in all our demographics. All over, we must let people be able to be creative and grow and become leaders. Don't feel that your leader can only come from a certain part of Trinidad and Tobago. You're welcome. Your leader can come from within your own community, in the bosoms of your community. Right? So that is what empowering our youths is all about. As a young person, as a youth leader, you have to understand that your role is the foundation from which other leadership qualities will spring forth. So you have to grasp the core aspects of your leadership. you have to be able to fulfill your responsibilities of influencing other members of your group. Karine Ashe, you know me, I tell you all, by our calypsos, our stories are told. Listen to Karine Ashe this year talking about who is a true leader.
How to choose a leader? That's the most relevant question today. Now that the man retire, people spitting fire, and every talking head having their say. For in this mixed up land that we call Trinbago, many times it does just boil down to race. They say that one side like African and the next prefer East Indian. But it's a way of choosing leaders is a disgrace. Yeah, why? Because a leader must help this country to rise. A good leader be able to motivate and then mobilize. A good leader, and a leader must be one whose vision is clear. Holding ethics and integrity, yeah. Yes, a leader should be humble and polite. Not wrapped up in ego or a controversy in fight. Not a tyrant or a dictator. That is not what this country needs. That will only make a nation lead.
Not my words, as Tony Lee would say in the morning. Not my words. Karine Ashe, who said that? What constitutes a good leader? I know many of you all forget that since Carnival Sunday night, you know. But those are the songs that I don't forget. I need to have them and I need to play them over. Because by our calypsos, our stories are told. Sorry for those who don't like calypso. Very sorry. But that's the way it is in this Trini land. Trini bad, you know. Now, just to finish up, I see some of the young people only watching the watch. I don't know, like they have something Saturday night line. So let me just ease up. I'm telling you, I've seen them then. I know the signals, I know the signs. And making it worse, I only playing and said, damn slow, calypso. I can't take that, you know. Hey. So that's what Mama didn't mean by. That's what Papa Holdip didn't mean by. I didn't understand him. Listen, let me give you a quick example. Calypso Night. Again, his actual name right now. I don't remember it in due course. Says he was in school. He's in standard 4. He's doing French. And he given real trouble because he want to do no French. And here what, when the teacher finally confronted him, you know what he said? He said, well, miss, why learning that for? People like me will never ever end up being in France or anywhere. He said, here I am, 28 years of age, 14 years later, working my calypso, I end up and I get a job in France. And I know a word of French. And I just thinking, but you know, I had the opportunity to learn French. But hear what I say. Mama, you know what she talking about? Not so? And that to me is a prime example. It's a prime example of why we have to continue learning. One of my heroes is a man called Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I like to consider myself as a Garveyite because the black philosophy which Marcus Garvey sought to enshrine in the Caribbean and North America, if some of us will just go back to the teachings, the philosophy of Marcus Garvey, we would be a far off better race. We would be a much better off race. But we continue, like myself, to give it out in little pieces. And one of the things that I learned from Marcus Garvey, never stop learning. Successful adults among you will say, that is true, you know. Look, Miss Kerr. When I first met Miss Kerr was working with Justice Lucky, doing all her administrative duties. Highly commended. Then all of a sudden, I miss Miss Kerr. I ain't take it on and say, oh, she get transferred somewhere. Next thing, Justice Lucky telling me, boy, you see our girl, she graduated. I said, graduate, what are you talking about? Don't you, she went to law school, she's a graduate, she's a lawyer now. I said, what? Give her a round of applause. Never stop learning. So, as young leaders, what do I want for you? I want you to engage in personal development. Your personal development is a continuous process that is integral to being an effective youth leader. Personal development is a journey of self-improvement that contributes to your growth as a leader. In other words, somebody doesn't have to teach you. You have to teach yourself as well. It involves improving your self-awareness, acquiring new skills. You live in a technological world. Acquire new skills. It's not hard, but you have to be persistent about it. You need, for instance, to practice public speaking. You need to practice public speaking. Don't be afraid to speak with your peers if you want to be a leader, because it is through public speaking and presentation skills that you show your effective leadership. You show your effective leadership. So whether you are addressing your team, speaking at a conference, many of you, is it in April or May, went to St. Martin. Went to St. Martin, the young ones. When it was? But yeah, well, right. Panama. But when did you go to St. Martin? Last year? Right. And I am dealing with the feedback from St. Martin. Wasn't that a wonderful learning experience for the people and children of Sangre Grande? End up in St. Martin, and they became a voice. People were impressed with these young children from Trinidad and Tobago. Well, from Grande, actually, and surrounding area. All right? They were impressed. And as you said, it continued this year, and Panama. We know Panama differently, yeah? Our knowledge of Panama is, I go into Panama. And not so Hernandez? Yeah, it have a lot of bubble over there. That is our knowledge of Panama. So public speaking, you need to get into it. It's often the medium through which you influence, motivate, and inspire others. Okay? All right, we're closing up shop, don't worry. Two things I just want to leave you with before I step down. And it's the two virtues of patience and persistence. If you are able to master these qualities, what would happen is that you would improve team leadership, you would enhance your own resilience, I don't know why I'm saying resilience. You see, patience in leadership is about maintaining composure in the face of challenges and not rushing to decide or to act. It involves being understanding and empathetic towards your team and allowing members to grow and to learn. Persistence in leadership means that you are staying determined and focused even in the face of adversity. It's about maintaining your course of action despite obstacles. You see, when you demonstrate persistence as leaders, you can inspire your team to stay committed to their goals. Think about a football team. Think about your star forward. You remember last year, the young man from St. Benedict's, the star forward who in the secondary school's football league scored nearly 20 goals. What was his reward? Straight up into the national team. Straight up into the national team, and they call him back out in Europe for further trials with a club. Persistence in what he wanted to be. So in conclusion, allow me to say that being an effective youth leader requires a combination of skills, attributes, and a commitment to continuous learning and development. Remember, leadership is not about being perfect, but about inspiring, influencing, and making a positive impact on others. So keep learning, remain adaptable, and strive to be the best that you can be. Here's my closing salvo. Allow the Holy Spirit to lead you from day to day. Listen carefully to his suggestions and do not insist on having it your own way, come what may. All right? I appreciate that round of applause. It put me in a good spirit. I feel I'm in a good place. I feel I could take a young brother. Hey, hold on, brother. Hey, not that young brother. You know he was going to play? The wickedest bend over there. He's going to play? No, partner. The next one. Oh, we're going to mash up in here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hear the cries in the streets at night. So many dreams warm up like light. Youths them caught in a system pole, chasing shadows that take their soul. But the rhythm of hope is strong. Feel the beat guide us along. Plant the seed of change in the ground, and with the fruits of love. Feel the beat guide us along.
Plant the seed of change in the ground, and with the fruits of love from the soil, I'm sure we can rise from the shadows as we shine. Through the pain and the sorrow, leaving darkness behind. For the youths and the future, let the healing begin. Every rhythm of the island, let love pull us in. So come from the dusk till dawn, as we rise up every morn. We fly to the skies like rain, all people will rise again. Hand in hand is how we'll start. Everyone can play their part. Man, woman, and child come in. Let the curtain begin. Oh! Yes, for the common man times well hard, fight man made us strive when we mad, and the youths them can't fight no way, cause the system take them for joke. Let the positive fight control, we must not lose sight of our goal. In spite the stress and the shame, let us build our country.
We will rise again. All right, remember that you have to stay strong. Fortitude. All right. Woo.
Hand in hand, we will rise again. Justice Malcolm Holdip, the Honorable Justice of Appeal Malcolm Holdip. At this time, I call on the Youth Accounting Officer, Ms. Zeda Sherwood, to make our presentation to our keynote speaker.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yeah, she
can't lift up that. Yeah, I tell you. Oh, no.
So, Mr. Judge Holdip, thank you for coming here today. We'd like to give you this token of appreciation on behalf of the Sangre Grande Development Youth Foundation. And thank you for giving us inspiration to do better as a community and citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Our young scholar, a round of applause. And like something I always say, you never know when you have to be called to do a presentation. So you see, I'm sure she didn't expect that, but they say, hey, you, come up, right? Thank you all very much for having me here. I extend apologies for my late arrival, but you know, when you're a tomboy, sometimes it's difficult to find your country space, so forgive me. But I know where the new highway is now, and I know how to get to Grande easier.
Before I call on Ms. J and John, I just want to make a brief announcement. Persons who are interested in joining the Sangre Grande Development Foundation and also interested in joining the youth arm, you are invited to speak to any of the directors. That's anybody wearing the black blazer at the back. Speak to them and you'll get further information. So anybody who's interested, feel free to reach out. To close this afternoon's conference, I now call on the General Secretary of the Youth Arm, Ms. J. and John.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. All protocols observed. Are you guys hearing me clearly? Yes? Okay. My name is Jan John, General Secretary of the Sangre Grande Development Foundation Youth Arm, and I have a distinct pleasure of bringing an expression of gratitude to you tonight. As we bring this wonderful youth conference to a close, first and foremost, we must give thanks to the Almighty God, whose grace, guidance, and protection has made today a success. Our sincere appreciation goes to Mr. Zion Charles, for the important safety briefing. A heartfelt thank you to Reverend Earl Sampson for leading us in the invocation, and to the Nazarene Holiness Center for their generous support with the sound system and live streaming of today's events. We also extend gratitude to our capable host, Ms. Alia McLean, and Ms. Rosalyn Pivot for her warm and inspiring welcome address. It's Rosalyn Pivot. I said it wrong, sorry. To our talented entertainers, Mr. Cleavon Wren, Miss Elizabeth Campbell, Miss Jemiah James, Mr. Tyrese Kerr, Mr. Jimmy Phillip, and of course, Mr. Eric Taylor. Thank you for sharing your gifts and adding life and energy to today's program. We deeply appreciate our guest speakers, WPC Sharon Ryan and Mr. Robert Hernandez, for their words of wisdom and motivation. A special note of gratitude to our distinguished keynote speaker, retired Justice Appeal, Honorable Malcolm Holdip, for his enlightening and inspiring address. We also recognize Mr. Eric Taylor, President and founder of the SGDF, Ms. Magdalene Williams, Vice President of the SGDF, and who did the beautiful decorations here today. By Ms. Kimel Kerr, our CEO, Ms. Nakia Joseph, Corporate Secretary, Ms. Claire Williams, Communications Officer, and the entire Board of Directors. Thank you for your leadership, vision, and unwavering commitment to all of us here today. Our appreciation also goes to Marjorie Saw of the Laundry House and the management and staff of the Northeastern Community Center for their support and hospitality here today. Finally, to my fellow members of the youth arm, participants, specially invited guests, parents, and well-wishers, we thank you for your presence, participation, and encouragement. Your support continues to make a difference in our lives. May we all leave here inspired, empowered, and ready to continue the work of building a stronger youth network in Sangre and stronger communities overall. Thank you. We have come to the end of today's proceedings. May God grant everyone here traveling mercies, and may God bless you all. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they cries in the streets at night. So many dreams born